Everyone is talking about ChatGPT right now, but honestly, the smartest people out there are quietly using a totally different AI as their hidden weapon. We're talking about Claude. For writing, coding, processing those massive documents, and just deep analytical thinking, Claude is an absolute powerhouse. The crazy thing is, most people just don't know how to command it properly. Well, in this explainer, we're going to change that. I'm going to take you from absolute zero to an advanced pro-level Claude user, step by step. Let's go.
Here is our roadmap to get you to Claude Pro. We'll cover Meet Your Hidden Weapon, Master the Prompting Framework, Working with Your Files, Unlocking Artifacts and Projects, Advanced AI Power Moves, and finally, the Claude Pro Roadmap. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. Meet Your Hidden Weapon. Introduction to Claude by Anthropic. So the most important mindset shift you need to make right now is this. You absolutely do not need to know how to code to use Claude. Seriously, zero coding required. Prompt engineering is simply a communication skill. The best mental model here is to treat the AI exactly like a super smart new hire on their very first day. They're incredibly intelligent, they're eager to work, but they know absolutely nothing about your company, your customers, or your specific goals yet. You just need to talk to it in normal, everyday English, exactly like you're onboarding a talented new team member.
Section 2. Master the Prompting Framework. The context, task, format, method.
Now let's get into the core mechanic. The secret to getting high-quality professional drafts instead of those generic robotic answers is this simple four-step formula. Most people just type a lazy one-line question and get a totally forgettable answer. Don't do that. Instead, first, give Claude a role. Tell it to act as an experienced sales manager, for example. That persona instruction is literally the highest leverage thing you can do. Second, add context. Give it the background and tell it exactly who the audience is. Third, state the task super plainly. And fourth, choose a format. Tell it exactly what shape the output should be, like a 5-point bulleted list or a 150-word email.
This perfectly illustrates why context is such a game changer. Think about the difference between a vague prompt and an engineered one. A vague prompt like, write a follow-up email, gives zero context, right? You end up with a generic template that you're going to spend 15 minutes rewriting yourself. But an engineered prompt uses our new framework. You set the role of a B2B sales rep, you add the background that the lead downloaded pricing 3 days ago, and you ask for a specific 90-word friendly format. Boom! You get a near-ready draft instantly. A vague prompt saves you 15 seconds of typing, but costs you 15 minutes of editing. The engineered prompt flips that completely.
And that brings us to a golden rule you have to remember. Never accept the first answer. Treat your very first prompt as just raw material. The real magic happens in the follow-up. It's an actual conversation. If the tone feels a bit too formal, just tell Claude to loosen it up. If it missed a crucial detail about your refund policy, tell it to add that right in. You steer the AI, and since it remembers your chat history, every single iteration gets you closer to perfection.
Section 3. Working with your files. Turn hours of reading into seconds. Once you've got the basics down, you can drastically level up your workflow by feeding Claude your own data. Right there in the chat, you can upload massive PDFs, raw meeting notes, or even images and screenshots. Claude will read and analyze the whole thing in seconds. Imagine uploading a 50-page industry report and just saying, summarize this in simple points for my team. Or dropping in a really complex chart and asking, what does this screenshot actually mean? You are quite literally turning hours of tedious reading into just seconds of processing time. It's amazing.
Section 4. Unlocking Artifacts in Projects, where Claude becomes a creator.
Okay, get ready for a serious wow moment. This is where Claude completely stops being a simple chatbot and becomes a specialized creator working right next to you. When you ask Claude to create something substantial, like writing code, structuring a complex document, or doing a design, it opens a feature called Artifacts. This is a dedicated split-screen panel. So, if you say, make me a simple budget tracker, Claude doesn't just spit out text, it actually writes the code and builds a real, interactive, working tool right in front of your eyes. You can see it, use it, and tweak it in real time. Then, we have projects. This is next-level stuff. With projects, you organize your chats, your notes, and your files into one dedicated workspace. Why is this huge? Because it means Claude retains all the custom context of your specific business, your exact tone, or whatever complex subject you're studying for every single future chat inside that project. It basically becomes an AI perfectly tuned to your exact mission.
Section 5. Advanced AI Power Moves. Unlocking pro-level features.
Now let's unlock some advanced techniques for those of you who really want to push this tech to its limits. Claude has some distinct advantages you absolutely should be using. First, its ability to handle incredibly long documents is just unmatched. We're talking dropping entire books worth of text into it for analysis. Second, coding. Even if you are an absolute beginner who has literally never written a line of code, Claude can write it, fix the errors, and explain the logic to you super simply. And third, styles. You can actually teach Claude your specific writing tone. Set your brand voice up once, and it will use it forever.
And speaking of dialing in that custom style, let's look at how the pros do it. Zero-shot prompting is when you just ask directly for a task without giving any examples. That's great for simple, straightforward stuff. But few-shot prompting, that is where you level up. This means feeding Claude a few examples of your past work before you even ask for something new. For instance, drop in 2 of your past high-performing emails. By giving it those examples, Claude perfectly mirrors your vocabulary, your structure, and your brand voice almost instantly.
Section 6. The Claude Pro Roadmap. Mistakes to avoid and next steps.
As you start diving into Claude, you really need to actively avoid some massive beginner traps. First, stop using lazy one-line prompts. You've got to be clear and structured. Second, please don't ask for a full year's marketing strategy and budget all in one single prompt. The AI is going to do a poor job at all of it if you overwhelm it. Break those large requests down into smaller steps. Third, never skip defining the output format, or you're just going to get giant, unreadable walls of text. And finally, always verify the logic. Before you trust answers blindly for a major business decision, double-check that output.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today in this explainer, and you officially have the roadmap. Start with a free account, practice that context task format framework, start uploading some of your own files, and definitely play around with artifacts to see what you can build. You quite literally have the ultimate AI superpower at your fingertips right now. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it today? Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.